Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Loop Hero. Today, after just finishing the run, you know what button I've just remembered exists? You know that thing which says grants you one resurrection after hero's death? Honestly, that'd be quite useful to use, in the final battle maybe. That being said, I don't think we were beating the final boss regardless. So, honestly, it's not the end of the world. Honestly, I also looked up some tips to try and beat the boss as this character, because honestly, I feel a bit weak right now. And one of the things I've seen is that, and what's kind of important, is that Ancestral Crypt is typically seen as the best gold card to do for this. But what I didn't realise was, and he does say it in plain text, you have to kill enemies with a soul. So Vampire Mansions are actually pretty good because they produce an enemy with a soul. Blood Groves, as typically seen, I think, is too weak. And then, often people don't run Rose Lanterns and Beacons, which means I'm going to take them out to also change my supply thing. So I'm going to take out all my Brass Candlesticks, but I'll leave everything else in for now. But what cards am I looking to replace them with? Honestly, give me more HP. Well, apparently the best way of doing it is loosely the build we were doing anyway. And I think we would have got there eventually with that type of build. But from what I've seen, generally, it's patience. You need to get as many plus skeletons as possible. And then you just take the game slowly. You don't need to spawn things super quickly. You can wait. You don't need to throw out your thickets too early. Another recommendation is to use sand dunes to slow down the boss attack patterns. So I think we'll try and do a slower run and see what happens. In terms of other things that I'm looking for, honestly, give me some mixed notes. I don't think they're terrible. I think they're okay. We're not going to do this strategy yet that I want to try of the Thunder Temple. And then, what am I really interested in? 5 HP for going through villages, kind of medium. More damage against undead is not terrible. Oh, we have no more slots. Well, that makes my mind up a lot easier. So I think we leave everything else as it is right now. Let's come back to our deck. So I think I'm going to take this out for the HP of Ancestral Crypt. I'm going to use Sand Dunes to slow down the enemies. And then I think the rest of the deck is generally okay. I don't think we need weak fields either. I think we just play slow on villages. Smith Forge, I think, is worthwhile. The only thing I've seen that other people don't use is the Bookery. I can see why, because if you're going really slowly, you're going to... you're more likely to get an Abandoned Bookery, which is kind of annoying to deal with. But I think I'm going to leave it in. Maybe almost a twist for me. Just to try and get the cards I want out faster. That's the only reason behind it. In terms of other building suggestions... and I kind of agree with this. I mean, most of the tips I've seen is just take it slower. They were talking about beating out 3 boss after 15 loops. And typically, I'm going towards the 4th boss by that loop. But I think what you want to do is have enough suburbs to gain a decent chunk of experience, but without filling the map up with them. And equally, you kind of want to get this River Oasis started, and then probably pivot into Sand Dunes. So that's what I'm going to try and do, and this will change it into an Oasis. So we'll start lowering HP down. So we want to build up HP quickly, get very strong, get loads of skeletons, and then we pivot into reducing speed back down again. Growth is fine, and then just general tips with the block spawns around the campfire. So for example, using Vampire Mansions, which is what I was doing for the Road Lanterns and Beacons. I'm still a little bit worried about being out-tempered. We don't have goblins to worry about. We do have the option of ransacking, and I will ransack. So without further ado, here's another attempt at the Necromancer, this time with help from the internet. Because honestly, ignoring the fact that I just noticed, and this was literally as he uploaded the episode, so I might now delete the upload and do a small edit to it to embellish how I feel about missing the resurrect. So we want to use the HP as much as possible from the Ancestral Crypt. And I couldn't see any way of beating the run last time. We just felt so weak. Like, we were just doing no damage. One thing I should bear in mind is I should plan this out better. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to probably break my mind trying to do this. But I think I'm going to run suburbs all the way up here. This entire corner will be suburbs. I will use this entire side for like the river thicket thing. And then what I think I'm going to do is come over to here and then start placing the sand dunes down. So really, I just want sand dunes in a row down here, but leave space for a river to come round. Again, another problem I've run into before, and I did on the last run, is I ran to places the river would go. And I shouldn't let that happen. That's a stupid play. So here's our first river, and I will weave this down this side. So the river will eventually come over here. So I don't want to go too far down with my suburbs. I've also learnt, by the way, the enemies I'm missing. And I probably will cover that in a different video, because I'm not planning on spawning them and I don't have the cards for another one. One of them I'm kind of surprised we never got, because... what's the word I'm looking for? What I'm surprised we didn't get, because we've taken the cards out before and we've seen one of the enemies. And the other one, I'm kind of surprised, because I've taken the cards out before and I thought I checked the synergy, but apparently I didn't make it happen, because we didn't get the achievement. Or we didn't see the enemy. So they will be things we will come back to. I've also, in passing, found other things. So perhaps the end of this series isn't as close as I first thought, because there are other things you can do. But we'll come to that in a later episode. For now, I'm going to just keep placing sand dunes down. The other thing they recommend, and I have tested this before, and I typically found it didn't come up good for us, you shouldn't place the weaker versions of these cards. You are very much trying to build a run to succeed. You have enough time in the early game. You don't have to rush to spawn the first boss. Like, make your run as strong as it can be. And that is what I'm going to take to heart right now. So I'm literally going to hold these. So the thing that surprised me, as I said, was that the build I saw from like a recommendation, and there's multiple different variants, admittedly, I have to say, is that they just let these drop off the screen when they're not using them. I don't feel like that is the best play, so I've brought a Bookery along with me. Now, I appreciate the risks of the Bookery, because you don't really want a Bookery when you are... What's his name? When you know you're going to abandon it. And we're almost certainly going to abandon a Bookery now. But I think we can deal with the enemy. That is going to be my logic. So as I said, right now we're just taking things slowly. I'm not doing what I normally do and panic placing tiles down. We'll take this one slow. 2 Vampire Mansions is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to use Vampire Mansions to block spawns of Lich Palaces. And I will ransack villages. So what am I looking for? A ransack village pretty quickly. I'm also looking for +1 to skeletons. I would also say that my strategy as well is... well, there's +1 skeleton, by the way, so let's take that. I'll keep evasion. So the other plan for my strategy is eventually I'm going to stop placing suburbs when I think that the benefit is no longer worth it. And like, I'm just not going to hit another level with it. And that will be an interesting play for me when I decide to do that, and I will just start trading it out of the Bookery. What was also interesting is they did suggest like traits, and most of the traits are the ones that I kind of valued anyway. But there was a trait which gives the skeletons more like HP, like a magic HP. I don't think I've ever seen it. So I guess it must be a rare drop, or like I've just overlooked it, maybe just glossed over the text and thought it's something else. Right now, this is pretty good, because we're killing enemies with souls, and that's what we need to do. Attack speed is nice. Smith's Forge I'm going to keep using to block spawns of Lich Palaces. Not sure if this is the right play, but it's how I'm going to deal with it. As I said, normally I would use the beacons. But I guess it's just not worth it for you. By the way, if this doesn't work, I'm probably just going to immediately go back to my old playstyle, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And honestly, part of my reason that I wanted to try this strategy was that they are using sand dunes. And I basically never found a good use case for sand dunes. It kind of surprised me as well that they suggest making oasis after we had the problem of slowing our skeletons down to preposterously low speeds. But I can see why, and I did mention this before, that maybe you should pick up attack speed first and then pivot. And that's what we're going to do. But this time I'm thinking the big picture. I'm not thinking, how can I immediately improve myself very quickly right now? I'm thinking, how can I improve myself by the time I fight the 4th boss? Hence why I'm going to leave space down here for a river. And I'm just going to let these hover in my hands. But currently, loop 3, looking fine. We have a lot of defense. All our items are getting shredded at the moment. And we can deal with those enemies quite fine. So here's up. It's fine. It's it's coming to the end of a recording session for me. It's been a bit of a long day. Again, a slight criticism, I suppose I'd say for this act at least, is that the runs are long when you succeed. And we've had limited success, but the videos are now getting to be an hour long pretty consistently, unless you die immediately on a run, which I have done a few times. Honestly, this bookery I'm considering placing over here too. But I can see why that would be bad. So maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just place it here. This time I'm going to make a town. Nice. So yeah, so I'm going to use this bookery to trade the cards out. So I'm going to try and hit my goal faster than what I think the suggestion normally is, which is just to let these cards drop off your screen. Also, let's start times 4 and thickets. Does that work the way I think it does? Yeah, it must do. So this is 2 times 2, which is 4. This is 2 times 2, which is 4 times 8. So it's then 12. So have I got plus 8 attack speed somewhere? Plus 4. Plus 4. Yeah, okay, that does work. I'm just making sure that this is actually sensible. It does, times 2, times 2, times 2. Right, that's fine. I'm going to ransack this village, by the way. Something which was mentioned about this, and I've been worried about it with the Necromancer, is that it's really good card draw. And that I can't fault. It is good card draw. It's dangerous. Especially when you do that. We're going balls to the walls. And we're already pretty close to spawning the first boss. So when I said we're going to take it slowly, I kind of am taking it slowly, but I think there's going to become a point where I have to be a little bit careful. +1 skeleton would be lovely, but we haven't got it. Honestly, give me that. The river, again, gives more attack speed. Let's see how we deal with this. I'm a bit concerned that we're just going to die here because we have no tempo and they have vampirism. The only suggestion I would have is that maybe we shouldn't have ransacked them immediately. And we should have taken it slowly until we got plus skeletons, because currently our loot is kind of bad. We are slowly whittling them down, and I do have 12 potions to, make this last. But this could honestly be, a 15-minute fight, so I might start to, go into the realms of insanity again. I'm getting a bit of deja vu from that session again. Let's take a sip of orange again. To steady the nerves. And just chill out, there's nothing I can do, it's an auto battler. Why am I sat so forward, so close to the microphone? Lean back, relax. It's a nice sunny day today. Well, as sunny as the UK normally gets. I think it's in the high single digits. But that's lovely enough for us. My god, this fight is slow. I guess this is the banter that section I was hoping for. In terms of what to talk about, I don't know. Lots of protests in the UK at the moment, especially around Bristol for laws against anti-protesting, ironically, that people are protesting. My opinion, generally, let people protest if they're upset. Don't bring in stranger legislation that basically lets you silence anyone you want to silence. Speaking of silencing, we've just silenced one of the enemies by killing it. But I don't know. It's a difficult place for the world at the moment, especially with just news. And most news is negative. I don't really want to bring up negative news because most people are watching these videos not to, like, get the real life brought up in them. But honestly, at the moment, everything is being dominated by the usual pandemic of COVID. Hope everyone's dealing well with it, or as well as you can be expected to. Yeah, it's just like hurt everyone. Like, it affects everyone's social life, or at least most people that are like actually adhering to it, because obviously there are some that aren't. But it seems like there are more positives coming from this. Like the vaccines seem to be doing pretty well, like the Pfizer one, and people, at least in the UK, are getting vaccinated. A lot of family members I know are vaccinated right now, which is nice. I still can't see them, but it gives you hope for the future. Let me block a spawn. Yeah, by the way, that fight finished in case you had switched off and turned around. But the negative side, we're about to do it all over again. And I'm a bit spooked. I'm very spooked, in fact. I can increase my attack speed, which should help. And then I'm going to use Battlefield sparingly around the map. I'm not going to make Bloodpaths. Oh, thank God the crossbowmen help us. Honestly, I should consider upgrading the crossbowmen. I have joked saying, like, you're useless because you don't help me in the final battle. But it does mean that I can, like, have a bit of time off on some of the tiles. This is actually bliss. Okay, that's fine. This has worked out well in the end. Let's keep doubling up on thickets. Again, don't need to rush. Don't worry about placing these. Summon quality. So quality is good. So I'm going to take it. And we'll leave skeleton level. I'm honestly not bothered that I've just lost an Oblivion. Doesn't worry me. We need more enemies with souls to die, so let's do that. Oh, we still have a thicket as well. Well, I was blind to you. And we've just spawned the boss. Again, not paying attention, but this isn't too bad. And then they'll say, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing it until, like, loot 6, and this is going to be loot 4. But we've got some okay loot right now. I'm going to believe in the dream. And if I don't, then it's probably my fault. I mean, I guess the downside actually of the bookery is that you do place cards faster doing it, but let's see. Maybe I can improve on it. And the Lono Laboratories are trying to make an improvement. Ooh, this is kind of a spicy change. I lose some quality, but I gain some regen and I gain a bit of attack speed, which I think is worthwhile. I didn't actually ever check if the attack speed does improve summoning speed. I think it does. At least from just my, like, observations, it does. Okay, so one of the things I saw is this is actually quite a strong skill. Because it increases your survivability if you get attacked. So, I'm going to take it for the first time ever. I'm going to see if you can turn me into a believer. Because honestly, I feel like it's kind of weak. You'd be better just not being attacked. But last run, that didn't really plan out. Because eventually the final boss just ground us down. I will keep using sand dunes as well. What is the optimal way of sand duning? Honestly, I should just weave backwards and forwards like that, I think, is the optimal. Yeah, I can do another bank. Okay, that's fine. We'll trade these off at the bookery. So I'm a bit scared about where I put the bookeries. Yeah, I'm a bit scared about making the tomes over there, but we're going to live with it for now. Do I rate 3 quality higher? I don't think I do. And honestly, I should use this grove. I don't know what I'm doing, just holding onto it. Because we're hoping to deal with the rat wolves a bit easier. I can't remember if we equipped the supplies actually to help us deal with the rat wolves. If we didn't, we should do. Because even in either strategy, I always use the rat wolves. So anything to let us kill them faster. More rivers is good typically, but God, we need to survive. Right, that kind of hurt. But we'll place another river, another battlefield. Honestly, place it on the inside of this loop. And now we're going to have a long, drawn-out battle. So, any more stories anyone's got to like prepare? No? Okay. You know, again, I've chilled out. I've gone back to my leaning position, as you might be able to hear on the microphone. One thing I would just say, oh yeah, sure, let's equip this level 5 ring, by the way, that does no difference to the level 1 ring. One thing I did want to mention is I'm sorry on some of the videos the sound quality's not very good. I've got like quite a cheap microphone, but like cheap but good quality in a sense, but it's not great on streaming quality. And there are some times, as I said, when I get a bit eager and I start leaning forwards, and then my little bar in OBS is going into the red and you get a bit of feedback, but I've tried to like reduce it down a little bit and up my voice. Also, as I mentioned, I'm sat in a small office, so even just as I'm talking right now, I can hear a slight echo in my voice. I could try and get some soundproofing, but this is rented accommodation, so I don't know if I can be really bothered. I think most of them are temporary though, it's not something you just set up on the wall indefinitely and leave it. So I should look into it, just to improve your experience. Because obviously, I mean, there is a saying of don't judge a book by its cover, but it's literally what everyone does. Everyone judges books by covers, and it's not a bad thing. Most people will give it like a few seconds. I do look at the analytics every so often, and like most people are watching it for like a few seconds. So you need to make like an immediate impact. Sometimes I've got to admit, I don't think you can make more of an impact than saying hello. Which is by the point that some people have switched off, but you know, maybe I am making like some mistakes. Maybe I should be getting into the game a bit faster, stop like doing a big intro. But as I said, let me know of like any improvements you'd like to see made to the channel that improve viewing experience. You'll notice that in some of my videos as well, I do some small editing, normally just like for comedy purposes. Again, I'm kind of happy to do that, but the more I do it, the less videos I can actually do. So it'll be a trade-off between, can I like publish enough videos to like meet my requirement? And there's a lot of games I want to play, as I said, and so many at the moment coming up, so I don't know if I've enforce those changes immediately. Like tomorrow, Monster Train has a DLC, and I'm really eager to play that. There's also, what was the other thing I was looking forward to? Isaac. So Repentance comes out fairly soon. As in, I think it's a week, maybe even 6 days from now. And I really want to play that. And I think the take I'm going to... Yeah, how's it possible? The thing I'm going to do on that is that I'm going to start it from a new save file. I have 1001%ed Afterbirth Plus, but I did it like basically when Afterbirth Plus was released. And I can't completely remember all the items in the game anymore. So that'll be fun. It'll be me trying to remember the items, learn new things. But most streamers, I think, will just get straight into it off like their 100% file. I can do my little like introduction to all of how the game goes. So I think I'll enjoy it. I think it's the king of roguelikes. I think if you enjoy like the ones that Melina plays through, I would definitely like check out Isaac as well. I think it's just a more polished product. Admittedly, there were some like teething things, and people said the game has got worse over time, and I can see why that's the case. Because a lot of the items are kind of memey now that were added, but I'm hoping with Repentance there's a big balance change, and maybe that some of these items that before were memey maybe have like a little small stat buff to them as well. So you just don't have these extraordinarily long runs that just don't seem to end. By the way, we just killed the Act 1 boss pretty comfortably. I don't know really why. He didn't seem to target us too much, which is nice. Now, in terms of grimoires, I really think picking quality is the right option. So I'm going to stick to my belief of that. And it's not just my belief, I think it's what all the people have mentioned. You want the better skeletons, really. Well, the nice thing about that is that I'm not going to immediately Oblivion Lich Palaces, which I did before. I think I might leave them. Or at least leave them a bit longer. And I'm also happy to leave their villages right now. Unless it spawns in a truly terrible place. But we dealt with that quite fine. We had a lot of defense up on us. Not a full complement of skeletons yet. That is kind of something that's missing from our playbook. but we're only placing the cards that we want to place down. And it's things that will help us beat the last boss. So we want, this time, it's quality over quantity. Which admittedly was how we played the last episode, and it didn't pan out. But I'm hoping the combination of reducing his HP and his attack speed will play off, so that maybe we can just, like, chunk him down a little bit quicker. We keep getting tons of rivers, which honestly I'm pretty grateful for right now. And lots of sand dunes. Honestly, I think I'm at a point here as well where I'd consider just going across now. I'm not too worried about gaining much more of the XP boost. But remember, you can take it slow, Andalona. You don't have to just, like, vomit out tiles. This was a comment a friend said to me actually after the first video, that she was like, you're so methodical in how you play it, like you're discussing your decisions. Whereas she just like, she gets a card in her hand and just throws it on the board in the best place. I think that is the mark of like a better player in Loop Hero. And I'm not saying I'm like a great player, but I'd like to think I'm in like the top 50% of players, hopefully. Because I've played it for long enough. I mean, only I think 30% of people had got the final boss achievement, so... ooh. Honestly, I don't know. These are all, like, interesting abilities. 3 strengthened skeletons will be joining the hero on every loop to help in battle. That only helps for a short time. You know what, honestly, give me better skeletons. Again, I've never really respected this. Yeah, as I was saying, like, a friend just said, like, oh yeah, I basically just vomit the tiles out. And I think the better players literally will solve this. And I did mention, like, maybe 12 parts ago that I think this game is solvable in a sense, that there is an optimal way to play it. Unlike other roguelikes where, like, you're bound by the things that you get on the run. You do have that case, but the deck building is so much of a aspect to it. And you can be pretty, like... I don't know what the word is, really. You have a lot of freedom to pick which items you want to pick up. You don't feel restricted to immediately throw something on. Like, I'm just leaving this +1 thing on at the moment. I've got, like, pretty poor loot comparable. But I don't feel like I need to throw something on that doesn't have a stat I don't want. So we can just take our time a little bit. I said, I think I say the one mistake I'd make if you've watched this playthrough and want to like know my opinions on it is that I think I fear the loop level too much. I think it's very valid to like slow the game down, loop a lot. They only get slightly stronger, but if you're more selective, you can get stronger faster still. I always want to throw out, like I said, I used to double like the forest tiles on the rivers. And again, this is only just like reading some stuff up on like Reddit and stuff and some Google threads and some forums of what people have been doing for this character. They're like saying like you can be like more selective with how you place the tiles, how quickly you put things down. You're in control over it. And honestly, the words resonated with me. So again, I think I keep placing sand dunes down over here. And let's keep continuing. So yeah, I'm being selective. I'm only putting down things that will noticeably make us stronger. I'm not worried about the meter, I'm not worrying about the loop level right now. It's just it's different playstyle for me, just to let the levels go on. That being said, I feel like we're still going too quickly. Because, as I mentioned, the guides I've seen was like, you should be doing like 6 loops before you spawn the first boss. Old frying pan, I don't think we've seen that before. Okay, nice. So extra HP when you go past the campfire. But yeah, I'm only placing tiles down that I want to place. Now, there is an argument to be made that why am I placing all these sand dunes down when I'm not over there yet? That doesn't tangibly improve me right now. I guess you could make that case. And maybe that is something we look at our next run. Assuming we don't beat it now. But there will be some more next runs, ladies and gentlemen, because there is added content in the game that I did not realise until I did a brief search for other enemies in the game. And there's some actually missing off the encyclopedia, so we will look at fighting them all. And I'm not going to lie, one of them doesn't sound fun to fight. I mean, neither might be fun to fight, but one of them looks like a real pain to fight, let's put it that way. And honestly, I might deal with it by fighting with the Necromancer. It's either going to be Necromancer or Rogue. But this fight is not looking too bad for us right now. Again, we're not in a rush. I have to keep telling myself this. This is going to become account lands fairly soon. And that's fine. We'll gain more XP from it. We'll gain more healing from it. And the slower we go, we're gaining HP. It's not like we're gaining nothing. It gives us more chance to get us better loot. And speaking of which, this might be better. It's a bit of a toss-up, so I'm going to say no. So I'm going to pause. I think I will use this Buckery again. Although, do I need the Buckery? Honestly, I'm switching cards fast enough as it is right now. I don't need another Buckery. It'd just be greedy. And it's a tile that doesn't actually improve me. I did mention this in the last one that I would have to place down neutral tiles. And I guess my lesson from looking at forums is that you should never have to place down a neutral tile. Which makes it interesting because I don't know how the maze is ever played then. I don't know if it's just the worst cards. But because that was literally just a neutral card to basically place down. Pretty close to spawning this boss, by the way. As I said, I'm going to go across, I think, from here. And I will trade all these cards out. 2 count lands. Nice. Take a thicket, which I can get a big attack speed off. So as I said, this S pattern down the thing, with very few thickets, I've already got up to 108% attack speed, which is pretty good. Now, I've made another misplay here, because I did say as well that I was going to leave the Vampire Mansions for count lands, and I've actually only put one directly on a grove. But I'll live with it for now. We'll place this here, and we have plans for it. Honestly, now I think I slowed down on these tiles, the sand dunes, because I want more oases. So unlike last one where we ran out of rivers, I'm hoping that we don't run out of rivers. In terms of am I happy to fight the next boss as well, I don't know. Honestly, my opinion is no, I shouldn't fight them yet. But the eagerness in me. I mean, my strategy, as I said, with the Buckery, meaning I'm placing cards down faster, so it's not unusual that I should be ahead of the curve a little bit. By the way, this is excellent for us. But maybe we slow it down, slow a roll down. That being said, we are now downing all the potions in the world. Well, there go all the potions that would have been very useful. Honestly, I'm not sure why we can't get a footing in this fight. It'll be a tempo thing again. We've split damage pretty well as well. If we can just kill one rat wolf, then we're fine. But no, we split damage again. Finally, we've killed one of them. Yeah, our skeleton's kind of weak. I really would like +1 skeletons. Because as I said, it's not doing nothing. Not placing tiles down is not doing nothing. It is potentially an improvement. And honestly, speaking of improvement, give me another skeleton. We could level and get +1 max skeletons, which would be a big bonus. So I think I'm going to cool my roll. And so much so that I might make a weird play. I'm going to Oblivion that because I've misplaced it. Just to move the grove a tile that way. I was going to say, I don't think this will spawn the boss, but now I think we should just take our time a little bit. Nothing here is absolutely desperate to place down. We can gain a lot of block before the boss battle. That's not an issue. We're gaining off 4 skeletons right now. That's good. That's max skeletons up. Honestly, this is very, 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 very nice. And it's plus attack speed. You can feel my urge. Just place one Inksy Winksy village there. Can I get away with it? Oh, I can't help myself, can I? I just can't. I wanted to get it down quicker because the quicker I get it down, the quicker it converts. But honestly, that isn't how I said I was going to play this game. But now that I've done it, I will place tiles down pretty liberally. Okay, I didn't realise that's how that would have worked. That was my mistake. Oh my god, I didn't even see a bandit camp down there. Well, suburbs, you might as well go down now to give me XP faster. And honestly, I think I could place them better. And sand dunes go like that. But not like that, because now I've screwed up my river. Okay? That's where it ends. It's fine. Stay calm. You've only misclicked twice on basically a turn-based game. Because you can pause the game. Why are you in such a rush, you moron? Oh. Anyway. Evasion up is quite nice, because I think we're going to need some evasion. So how do I feel coming into this boss battle? Frightened is the word I would use. I said, this is kind of early for this fight, from everything I've seen. I shouldn't be fighting right now. But I am, so just... honestly, just buckle up and deal with it. We can get out, I think, 4 skeletons right now. We have a bit of summon quality, and by a bit we have 52%. Please give me more. Oh, right. It strengthens skeletons. Interestingly, like, guides I've seen don't like recommend that +2 skeleton. I guess it's just inconsistent. Whereas everything else at least is like consistent to a point. So we're gonna get some strong skelly boys in the next fight, but how useful that is, I don't know. If we can time it for when we're fighting the boss, it'd be nice. But it doesn't even seem that strengthened. I don't know where the buff is. Okay, sure. Sure. So this is summon quality up, evasion down, but has defense on it. I'll trade 1% summon quality for it. Really, honestly, if I could get like summon quality plus a skeleton, I'd be so happy right now. Because this ring basically is nothing to us but a skeleton. We've been kind of unlucky. I think I've misplayed this, by the way. This is like definitely misplaying by me. So I'll own up to this. But we could have had better skills. I think we've had pretty weak skills. Also, it blocks the village from being able to place the vampire mansion, but that's fine. Just calm down. Don't panic. You don't need to place these cards. More vampire mansions will come up. And you have a target to oblivion now. It's the bandit camp. This one shouldn't be a problem. We shouldn't take too much damage. And we're taking none. As long as we don't summon a full complement of skeletons, this fight cannot hurt us. It is free XP and free loot. The XP is pointless to me because I'm not going to hit a level before I fight the boss. How do I feel about fighting this boss? I'm going to say we have a 2% chance of victory, and that's been a bit generous. Our skeletons are kind of weedy right now. We're not guaranteeing ourselves bone lords who could just like almost like infinitely protect us. We have picked up another village though, which is kind of nice. And ransack it. Just keep throwing them cards down. Not panicking. So more XP from the suburbs. I mean, we could still get some good loot. What would make my confidence increase? So, give me +1 skeletons and plus 25% summon quality. Nothing else, just give me those two things. And I would raise it up to maybe like a 30% chance of winning. Without it, I don't think we're going to win. Honestly, what do I do with this room? Do I step it down one more? I think I do. Don't panic to place all the forest. You don't need to place the forest right now. And you're filling up that part of the map. Honestly, we might as well put the suburbs down into here now as well. Because I can't get the river around there anymore. It's like the worst misclick position as well, because I can't even just like wind in itself to get a bit more advantage. I really ruined that. Oh well. Right, keep doubling these suburbs, the burbs. Keep improving these, that's fine. And I've got another suburb, but it's the boss battle, so I can't control this anymore. Destiny is not in my hands. It's in my skelly bobs. Our attack speed is 144, which is really high. We need a decent amount of Bone Lords, but at the moment I feel like we're not summoning fast enough. Yeah. I might not be summoning quick enough to win this battle. Remember, we have 2 revives. 2 of them. Not 1, you have 2. You could burn them here if you have to. We only have 3 potions left. But we're really like, it's almost like, as I said, like an RNG thing. We're about to get 2 strength from skeletons. Which look kind of pointless to me. We occasionally hit our 4 skeletons though. We heal when they die too, so it's not the end of the world. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Just keep telling yourself that. Honestly, we actually look pretty good. This ability to heal off the skeletons, I never really thought about it this way, but it's very good in the boss battle where many skeletons die. But they're just feeding my HP pool. Speaking of which, can a few skeletons please feed me? Because I'm taking a lot of damage right now. Nice. A guard boy at least survived for a second. Honestly, we're going to win this fight. And I'm amazed. I don't know what their HP reduction's been as well. I'm sure you should be able to see this somewhere. Oh, it's up here, isn't it? Yeah. So 15% reduction in their HP. Honestly, for the final boss, that's going to be pretty tiring. It's going to be a few hundred HP. So we drank all but 1 potion. That's what they're there for. We can pick some more up in the loops. But my god, is this a struggle right now. We're kind of fortunate this is probably the boss that we deal with the best as well. Because she's not attacking us, her angels are attacking us, and they give us like time every so often to get 4 skeletons out. I know the day has passed, by the way, so we've got strength from skeletons. Something else I never considered is that the day effect's quite useful if you take multiple days to fight an enemy. Which is what we're doing right now. And honestly, I am astonished. I gave it a 2% chance to win, probably shows how much I know. Because we're definitely winning it. Well, take that, priestess. And the outposts are not going to steal my loot because I have no outposts. Oh my god, you have +1 skeleton on you again. And you have levels. Welcome to the party. You have quality and quality. You have quality. You should swap. And you should also probably swap. It hurts a bit to trade evasion because it's kind of a nice stat for us, but I will trade it. And how much am I valuing the +1 skeleton? I'm not considering it. That was never a consideration for trade for me. Let's place a few more suburbs down and let's keep going. Okay, we've abandoned a bookstore, so feel free, game. I'm just saying this now, feel free to give me some oblivions because I kind of need them. On the plus side, we got good loot, but I say good loot. It's basically going to be loot we can't equip, I think. Yep, we can't equip any of that, so let us continue. Again, this is a bit of a scary fight for us, I'm not going to lie. I normally don't let my bookeries become abandoned bookeries, but here we are. It's my little spice to it. It's a little bit of nutmeg in the sauce for me. Might as well place that there. There. Thickets. Double me a thicket. We have more sand dunes. And you can go there. I'm hitting a point now where honestly I don't need too many more sand dunes, but I might play them along the bottom of the map. none of you have +1 skeleton. No. So I'm looking to take this slowly. That being said, I am 60% of the way to spawning the next boss, so maybe I can't. Maybe I haven't got the choice anymore. Maybe I have to go quickly. But the run feels very similar to the last one, honestly. We just don't quite have as high, I say quite, we have half of summon quality. So we're not guaranteed to get like these bone lords as they've been calling them. Let's just use some more thickets. Yeah, village I don't mind, I'll use the more rivers. Honestly, I think again, I didn't want to look too much into details there. I didn't want to pull out like a pure deck and just say like run this deck and this is how you build the map. I still wanted to have my flair to things. I haven't like I've done quite a lot of hours into the game, so I feel like I know a lot of it quite well. So I didn't look into like specifically like, oh, you need to like divert at this point or something like that. Nope, never looked into it. That being said, do I want to place a vampire mansion right now? Honestly, I don't think I do. I'm quite happy with the difficulty. So yeah, I don't know when to like tap out for my attack speed. Do I just go to 200%? I don't know. It honestly depends on the last boss. But I feel like 200 is roughly a good place for it to be. I'm going to ransack this again. It's going to give me another bandit camp. I hate bandits. And I will double up small thickets. Nothing else will be played. The vampire mansion could be played, actually. I will play it. It's a bit dangerous, but I don't feel under too much pressure right now. I do only have 4 potions, but this tile isn't too hard. They fortunately attack very slowly. They do sometimes get back up, but they attack slowly. This I wish I'd got earlier, but I'll take it now still. I still think it's worth it. So I think that was the #1 get for skills for this character, and it makes sense. I always won that one as the first pick. But we are being patient. That was the aim of this run, is to be patient. You don't need to panic. You don't need to vomit all your cards out. And I'm hitting a point now where the suburbs are no longer particularly useful for me. So don't just throw them somewhere that you don't need them, because they don't necessarily need to be there. And I'm making my educated decision now that I think we're starting to like tap out on the odd thickets. I think I will use a few more sand dunes. I'm close to like tapping out on suburbs as well. Because we can't really gain the benefit of the suburbs on this edge tile. Remember, keep looking at your loot as well, don't just ignore it. You could have like a basic bit of gear that just has +1 skeleton on it, and it would be better probably than the ring you've got. Oh, another village. Man, it's treating me at the moment, the game. Keep ransacking those villages. So honestly, this is the last suburb thing I can really turn into a hall. And I'm at... Why do I keep calling them halls? So it's the last one I can turn into a town. And honestly, do I want to go beyond that? Maybe. Maybe is my answer. I don't know. We'll have to like judge, I guess, as we play through the run. And honestly, it's not... Oh, we get +1 skeletons on something that we already have +1 skeletons on. Frustrating, but we'll live with it. It's not bad getting more of these Book of Memory resources, by the way. It's not the end of the world. Honestly, this tile could be extremely painful for us, by the way. Please don't just destroy all my +1 skeletons. Honestly, take anything but the Grimoire, and I think I can recover. Stop evading. There you go. Again. No! Seen an Oblivion, I think, for this run. Maybe we've seen one. Well, honestly, an Oblivion would be really nice right now. And it's kind of why we put the bookeries in. Actually, I should place another bookery now. We have hit a point that I'm not spending them fast enough, and one of our bookeries has changed. So I will pause the game, but I think I will use both the bookeries, in fact. Now, there is an added risk to this because I'm spawning the vampire mages. Which I mentioned in a previous video, I don't fear more than the books, or the tomes. Which doesn't make sense because they summon a tome afterwards. You're going to make that go off, aren't you? You scumbag. Okay, you didn't. Never mind. Apology. Spicy, spicy, spicy. I think this is less spicy. And where is even less spicy? Honestly, this isn't too spicy anymore. Because this is going to be a council land before, like, anyone knows it. More rivers come down here, and sand dunes. So, okay, I can't really play anything here. Am I ready to start converting to oases, like, up here? Here's this is the decision, really, for this run. I'm going to say yes. I think we're going to hit 200% attack speed just off of this, so I'm quite happy to place these up a little bit now. Do I want to place a grove down? Probably. Probably, yeah, sure, have a grove over there. But, my god, I just looked at the meter. Thank god I looked at the meter. Just take your time, like, why are you rushing? You mad lad. Is this just better? No. Maybe. No, it's not. It's actually worse. I say actually, it's the same level, so it shouldn't by default be better. Do I want to fight the Act 3 boss now? I think no. Stop giving me +1 skeleton on the grimoire, like, it's starting to tick me off a little bit. Honestly, I need Oblivions right now. I can't place anything. Because I am about to spawn the boss. And this was not in our game plan to spawn the Act 3 boss on loop 7. The plan was to spawn the Act 3 boss around loop 15. That was my intention. We're going a little bit too quickly for my liking. We're strong right now. We don't need the power boost. I guess that's the other way of looking at it. If we're comfortable on a loop, we should just loop. Because, like, why, like, absolutely hammer these enemies when we're pretty comfortable? But we're not picking up HP fast enough, is what I'm saying. I hate losing a thick hit, but I think it's worth it. The question is, do I think I could beat the Act 3 boss? I suppose. And actually, I'm not confident I can. So maybe that should be the answer of my question. Now, would I do it on the next loop? It's about half like the time I was looking for, but maybe. Maybe I will. Because it doesn't really matter. As long as I feel like I can beat him, we can always loop multiple times before we fight the Act 4 boss. Okay, ghosts kind of scare me because you can turn into a really bad enemy. No, you don't have +1 skeleton. Just let the cards go away, don't worry about it. More cards will come. This is not the last thicket you're going to see on the run. Okay, I can see why now you don't necessarily run the Bookeries. I think I have to do it on my next loop with the build I've done. It's kind of stupid, especially if I can keep the village. The village would be nice, but... Oh, an Oblivion! Hello, Oblivion. Bandit camp, go bye-bye. Can I play? Go past the camp first. Right, I've passed the camp. Can I ransack you? Yes, I can. Can I ransack you? Yes, I can. I've spawned the boss. That's fine. We've gone past the tile. We have time to plan. Oases are coming up. Suburbs basically are pointless to me now, but I will still use them. Which isn't what I was meant to say, because they're... If I think they're a neutral card, I shouldn't play them anymore. So we're going to fight some books right now. +1 again on my skeleton. Yeah, don't place this. You don't. If you've just decided that it's not good, don't do it. I don't need the Smithy Forge either. I have Smithy Forges. Oh, an Oblivion though, I will take. Goodbye. I think this was the right way to play this as well, by the way. I was just thinking we should consider more where the river goes up or below when it goes around the map. But this is like the tightest choke point. So we only miss out on a few tiles of good river. And I'm going to go back into planning because I'm a moron and I'm just throwing my cards out again as fast as I can. Even though I said I'm not going to do that. Here we are. What's my attack speed right now? 167. Okay, start getting some oases in there. I don't need groves anymore. My HP is not great, but it's not terrible. What are we looking for? Replacement for this ring. Give me +1 skeleton on something else. Please. What else? We're not going to get a full complement of potions either, because again, I was a bit of a moron. But that's okay. We're also missing some quality. Honestly, if I get a ring that says +1 skeleton and plus 25% summon quality, I think we can comfortably beat the Act 3 bosses we are. I'm just worried that we're going a little bit too quickly, as I said. But honestly, if we do survive it, then we can take our time on the next one and get as much HP as we need. Oh, we also leveled. I don't want a handful of Oblivion right now. Come on. Okay, we take that. Whilst I do have uses for Oblivions, I can't replace everything in my hands. Honestly, this has been a really bad play as well for me. Because I can't put rivers there. I can't put thickets there. I should have pulled this down. But, story of my life right now. I'll have to get a bit back here. Do I want to place any more vampire mansions? Honestly, no. They're not essential to the equation. Well, as I said, I like to get around to attack speed 200, and I think I'm not going to be able to. Oh, no, that's not true. I can get 200% attack speed, it's just not as quickly as I was hoping. Right, we have another village. Will I ransack it? Yes, I will. Because I plan on looping for a while. This was your game plan, remember, when you came into the game. That's still ransacked. That's fine. Place the vampire mansion down first. Then ransack the village. And do it here. Because if we keep doing that, eventually we're going to block bandit camp spawning. Now, can we do that yet? No, we can't. But in the future, we can. I also think I've placed as many sand dunes as I'm willing to place right now. I think I literally want everything else to be thickets. Well, thickets and rivers. Now, the problem is, as I said, my bookeries are kind of pointless now. Because I just plan on looping for long enough, so there was no real benefit to using them. So I guess I can see why no one uses bookeries on any of the forums. I've just been patient, apparently. I thought, you know what? If you said what's one of your characteristics, I would have said patient. But I've learned, during the playthrough of this, especially on this video, that I don't have any patience. I have to go as quickly as possible. Even now, I'm like approaching summoning Act 4 boss. Oh. Anyway, everyone else keep going slower. Can I place? No, I can't place sand dune there. Yeah, everything else I save. Forests are not thickets. I need thickets and rivers. That's all you need now. I think. Maybe villages. I might be able to use a village and a vampire mansion. Because there are some tiles I can't actually use. We propped our extra things. Bookery is now pointless to us. Because we're going to loop. We're going to loop long. We're going to take our time. I did mention that I was feeling a bit like ground down that these videos were an hour long, but honestly, if I can do this in a 2-hour video and not have to do it again, that is better than doing multiple hour playthroughs that you often lose. Let me keep doubling up some thickets, because I need to. Suburbs don't need them. They can go away. Honestly, we can collect as many book of memories as we need. We can unlock the encyclopedia with it. Not my original intention when we started this, but if we're going to do it, let's do it now. Right, we picked up another river. Will you stop giving me +1 max skeletons on the grimoire? I swear down. We've literally seen it, I think, once. Oh. We've seen it twice on a ring. Again, just pay attention to what you're doing, you pleb. We nearly lost that then. I'm just going to hover through. So just that now. Okay. We've got some added evasion, which we wouldn't have had otherwise. In fact, our evasion's pretty high. Possibly the highest we've had it on this character. Not intentional, but it is what it is. So how do I feel about fighting the Act 3 boss fairly soon? I feel pretty confident. I wish we could pick up, like, a +1 skeleton elsewhere, though. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of hurting the run. I honestly think I would drop one of these for it as well. Like, I think I would drop it anywhere. But we do want a little bit of quality, that's not a lie. Our HP is getting up there, nearly 1,000. And what do I attribute this to? Honestly, it's this combo. I overlooked it. We always said we didn't want to fight too many monsters with this character, but we do want it with the crypt, and one of the easiest enemies is probably those ghouls. Right, where's that bandit camp? There. Goodbye, bandit camp. You've no longer a threat. Yeah, they do pretty minimal damage, and they're just an easy enemy to kill. Yeah. So I think I always just saw like they do 56 damage, but their attack speed is so slow. They attack once every 3 seconds. Like, we can easily out-tempo. We don't need to worry about it. Quality, no. No. Just doing a quick check. I think we've checked these. But so far things are looking okay for us. Definitely improving. We're not going to level on this loop. Not going to lie, that hurts again, but we'll deal with it. Village. Oh, I could put it on there for free, actually. I never thought about it. And our rivers are coming through here now. Should have remembered as well, actually, this corner tile's a waste when I build it in the future. I should put a sand dune in the corner and then go like that. Okay. Lesson learned. It's fine making mistakes as long as you learn from them. Last episode, I didn't hit the resurrect button for free. I've learned. I look at the resurrect button now when I'm playing with this character. I have a spare resurrect. Double that, please. What's our attack speed? 185? Okay, I think I will use one more big sand dune then, and I'll start my oasis slightly early. I'm feeling happier now. Do I feel 100% confident we beat this boss? No, not at all. But I feel a little bit more confident doing it. Here's a free oblivion as well. Do we have any use for a free oblivion? Will you just sit down? Oh yeah, we do have a use for a free oblivion, you moron. I was about to say, no, we have no use for it. Where's that bookery that I've abandoned? Just get out of my sight. Like, why am I making things harder for myself? Yes, oblivions have a use. Because honestly, we can get rid of the bookeries now. We don't need it. Now, do I think the bookeries were a good addition to this plan? The theory crafting that's been done throughout the internet of multiple playthroughs? Probably not. I think it's quicker though. So if you have somewhere else to go, this might be your strategy. Because I'm not going to get to loop 20, I think. I don't know if my patience will hold out for it. But I did see that, like, they were saying, like, you should probably wait 20 loops for it to gain enough HP. But I feel like we're going to fight him sooner than that. Well, maybe if we get enough Oblivions, we can deal with it. Ooh. Okay. This is worse. Again, you've given me plus skeletons on a grimoire. I need it on something that's not a grimoire. Yeah, I guess it's a question of do I use battlefields as well, but I don't feel like I need the battlefields either. I think the enemies are fine as it is. Although we only have 3 down. Do I place 1 more battlefield? Sure. I have a battlefield over there as well, make that slightly harder. Because at least they give you chests, which is a way of getting better loot. So they're not completely useless to me. So really, we should look at these cards. This is HP, because we want to kill rat wolves for HP. Now, do I want to place any more rat wolves down to gain HP? I don't know. Maybe. Honestly, yeah, I probably should do now. I'm still really worried about having rat wolves next to the battlefields. Because if we have a prolonged fight, then I can see a lose condition. But like here on the corners, that's completely fine. And then, is there anywhere else I can place these that would be beneficial? Honestly, that's probably beneficial right now. Give me more defense. Again, it hasn't gone against my attention that isn't a noticeable improvement for us, but I've decided that we could do with a little HP up, and we could do with a little defense up. That's how I place those cards. The battlefields are just loot. Just try and get a bit of better loot, because it feels like at the moment we're just generally getting rubbish. More rivers are good. Again, we're hitting a point fairly soon that rivers aren't going to be good at for us anymore. And that's fine. We planned for it. We planned for their obsolescence. But it will become a point where we just want thickets. You might say this is actually bad game design, I suppose, that Thicket is such a strong card that I'd be willing just to loop 4 Thickets. It's something that maybe they'll tone down. It does feel a bit strong right now, the Thicket-River combination. Perhaps the Thicket should be 1% and Forest should be 0.5%, but I don't know. They must have done some in-game testing. They'll know better than me. Or at least make the combo a bit harder. Because it's basically free right now. I say basically, it's completely free. I choose where the cards go, so. But yeah, I'm not struggling right now in the loop. I'm fine. What we're missing, we want +1 skeletons. If you don't have +1 skeleton, I can't take you anymore. If you're a thicket though, or a river, I can take you. I will welcome you into my open arms. It is astonishing how little like +1 skeleton we've seen. We've seen 2 rings, I think, and like 20 grimoires. Never seen it on the other amulet position. And honestly, we probably should have considered now in like hindsight, I should have put this on this slot. It was a misplay. But it was just like, it's my best form of quality, I think, at the time was this. Okay, we've dealt with that. More rivers. River. We can start placing thickets wherever we want now. That doesn't bother me at all. Oh, we're about to fight a boss, by the way. It takes so long for us to loop right now that I kind of forgot. Well, it's looking like so far that we're not going to pick up any better loot. And that's okay, because it has to be okay. We have no other choice. Village. That I can turn into something else. How about you try you... I'm so scared about like ransacking villages next to the battlefields, even though I have done one up here. give me one there. River rounds. That's an oasis, that's fine. And more thickets, please. Let's fill the gap there. We don't want any more suburbs. Okay. And we're going to get healed to full HP. So there's no more improvements that we can make. Well, I mean, that's going to take stuff away from us. So that's fine. Right, Act 3 boss. I feel like we're pretty close in strength to how we were last time. It's just that we're not guaranteed to get Bone Lords. We've immediately got someone on the back line, which is okay, I think. By okay, I mean actually it's kind of terrible. Because he takes up one of our 4 skeleton summoning slots, so I can only get 3 in the fight now. Fortunately, at the moment, we're not getting targeted, but, like, we could get targeted pretty hard fairly soon. And in fact, our magic shield just depleted, like, very rapidly suddenly. We've killed the boss. Should go into planning after this because I've got thickets to place. I think we're okay. We have 8 potions as well to lean into if we need to. I have 2 revives. The dogs do hit for 277 with a crit, so I shouldn't get immediately one-shot by them. I can survive. He is targeting me now, though. Okay, he's changed target. It's fortunate. I think they are just changing their target continuously. Whereas he, I think, just targets you consistently until something dies. Okay, we've dealt with it. Right. Now, don't just be done. Don't just vomit cards out. Just think about what you're doing now. You're probably 60% of the way to spawning the final boss. Your attack speed is pretty low and your equipment is pretty bad. Worse than the last one where you lost. So, just loop for a while. The clue is in the game name. You need to loop. Because you need to get better loot. You have to pick up some more max skeletons. Rivers are fine. Villages are also potentially fine. Because we can turn them into count stuff. Where do I want to turn something into a count thing? Maybe there. That's a bandit camp. Fine. I'll deal with you. Nice to see no more Oblivions, by the way, in this game. I think I'm hitting a point now as well where I don't want count lands. It probably already hit that point a while ago. I'm kind of just doing this to get more cards. I'm trying to get Oblivions is the honest answer. Do I place one more village? I don't really need the HP. I think the answer is no. This is fine. I'll deal with that. But honestly, I shouldn't have placed this either. This is kind of stupid. I don't need that much HP regen. I've got it at the start. I've got it at the beginning. I can gain XP fine now. It's just giving me more card roll. That's all it's doing. But honestly, I want to improve now, I think. That's all I want is improvements. So yeah, just let the villages go away now. Still though, the game is holding out on me a bit, it feels like. I would really like +1 skeletons on something. Oh, an Oblivion. Very nice. Goodbye. Because if you take my +1 ring, I'm going to be upset. Also moves the counter back. We have plenty of tiles we want to Oblivion right now. We talked about this before where we're just like saying, it'd be nice if we get them, but we can wait. Like, why am I rushing? I can wait for like 5 Oblivions to remove all my bookeries that I've placed on the map. How many bookeries have I still got on the map, by the way? Where are you? There's 3 on the map still. And they're all going to change very quickly. So I need 3 Oblivions fairly soon. I still think it was the right choice of Oblivion the bandit camp, by the way. Bandits scare me more than the book does. Or the vampire mage. The ghost scares me, not gonna lie. Because I have seen... What was it even called? Like... Alpha Matter or something? Which you might spawn into now. You get 6 attacks and you just die. Please can you deal with this ghost, by the way? Casper the Friendly Ghost might murder me. But, no. We're starting to deal with it. what is going on? 100% chance to counter. He has vampirism as well. I guess that's what's happening. I'm like tripping him down. Come on, skeletons. Come on, Wolverine. Well done. You got there, Angela. Right, this guy, Prime Matter. Okay, he does say hero. I'm gonna die, I think. I can resurrect. Please kill him. Okay. So he doesn't proc again. Okay. Well, that is frightening. How have I just picked up an outpost? What? Where's this come from? I haven't got an outpost in my deck. So there's an achievement I've seen where it says place 10 cards that didn't start in your deck. And I've wondered how to get them. Was that Prime guy? Did he give me a thing to just pick up a random item? I have no idea. Oh my god, it's an amulet that's +1 skeleton and summon quality. It's only taken 2 runs and maybe like 2 and a bit hours, but finally the dream has been, like, the dream is being lived. Let's put it that way. That being said, I'm now horrendously scared. We have 1 resurrect left, not 2. We've just used 1 on a basic mob. But we can deal with this going forwards. I didn't really look at his rolls as well. It felt like we did 1 damage many, many times, but I guess there's always that chance of it happening. Honestly, I think I might place the outpost just to see if we can gain an achievement, but now's not the time for achievement hunting. I don't really care too much anyway. It's just I don't know where it's come from. We've placed way too many of these, like, ransack villages down. This was actually insanity. Are you +1 skeleton? Have you got +1 skeleton? Oh, you do, actually. No. It's honestly going to take a lot for me to swap that. I can't remember ever seeing something as good as that. Nothing as beautiful as that sight. Okay, we're on loop 9 now, so we have slowed down a little bit at least. I am incredibly scared. There is an enemy that can just kill us. And I only have 1 more resurrect for him. But what I have to remember is that's going to change into a countland at some point, and then the fight will be quicker. I also feel like it's incredibly rare to spawn. Because I think it's like a ghost, and then a ghost of a ghost, and a pack of ghosts dies, and then he's summoned, so I feel that was a pretty low chance. Okay, now it's like the game's just taking the mick. It is just giving us +1 skeleton on every amulet it's now giving us. But, what am I looking for it on? A ring. Give it me on a ring now. Again, this is tempting, but we've got quality somewhere at least. What's the quality? 57. 57 is fine. That's a high enough number for me. Give me +1 skeleton on this ring, and then we're talking. I mean, God, it's a skill 5 level ring as well. Just give it me on rings. Game. The machine gun squad is rolling. Right, I think we're in the ring of the battlefield as well, by the way, so it's kind of spooky because they'll have souls and they turn into ghosts, and they just get up. They endlessly get up. We've leveled again. Give me counterattack. I have time to find those cards. Cards, what was it called? Is it Card Shark or something? I don't even remember what you're called anymore. I don't respect you anymore again. For 6 videos, I gave you the, probably more than 6 videos, I gave you the utmost respect. You kept giving me multiple rivers, but I've realised that the game is a marathon, it's not a sprint. That should be the motto for this video. Should be the title. What will it be? Who knows, depends if I remember. I have time to place down all the tiles I want to. I don't need it to speed me up to do that. It's not a concern for me. Actually being better is a concern for me. We've hit the point again, by the way, of 1700 XP. And by 1700, I mean 17,000 for the next level. So, are we going to see it? Well, we should do. That was my intention. Now, will we? Probably not. Because I'm just vomiting cards on the board again. Right, our rivers have nearly ran their course. What is the attack speed down now? So they have low HP by 21%. And doesn't say minus 21% attack speed. Okay, that is numbers I can get behind. What's ours? Minus 21%. But I guess we're gaining 190 still through that? I don't know. Come on. Give me the gear I want, game. Just cries. Oh. Patience. That being said, I'm about to finish my drink now, and it's the last time I didn't have a drink when I did a video. I had basically a coughing fit halfway through it, so... Am I confident enough just to leave the video running and get a drink? Perhaps. As I said, I've run facecam on some of my videos now, but they're not going to go onto the channel, so you will at some point see me. I haven't put facecam on this game, nor One Step from Eden, because there's not really a great spot for it, and I don't think it really adds much to the game. Whereas in this other unnamed one, I think it did add some things to it. Right, we're about 90% of summoning the boss right now. I wanted to be more patient than I have been. Honestly, it might be a good reason to go get a drink, is just to make me patient. If I don't see the cards, I won't play them. That being said, I will miss the loot too. Again, I'm just going to quickly hover over them. I don't have a +1 ring again. It's really the thing I'm looking for right now. Give me some more in the back line. What else am I looking for? Please not you. Oh my god, there's two of them. Oh my god. It's him again. Please kill him. Thank god. How are we picking up gold cards now? It must be that prime guy. That must be how you get the achievement. But I never thought it would give you a gold card. Is that how you just get the other slots and you just have to roll into the arsenal? It kind of seems absurd. By the way, this card is terrible for us. It will never be placed. It, of the 4 gold cards we could have got, is undoubtedly the worst one. So thanks for that game. For mocking me. And, well, we might have another chance to roll the dice by the guy that could just spontaneously kill us. Oh my god, it's going to happen, isn't it? Please don't just die to ghosts. I'm scared. I'm scared. Oh my god. Don't care. Not looking. Attack speed 197, we nearly hit 200. Still nothing with +1 skeleton. Plus 44% attack speed. Now that is a spicy meatball. But not a meatball for this one. Currently we're making a curry, so we don't need any meatballs. Ooh, hello. An oblivion if we survive this ghost encounter. Right. The bookeries. I might as well get the use out of them. No, honestly, you know what? I'm not even going to take the risk. Just get rid of that one. I think Oblivion would have dropped off my screen before I got there anyway. Here's another ghost. If this video isn't named Thingy, by the way, I've already forgotten what I was going to call the video. Honestly, this is how it feels to live for me. By the way, River's now pointless to us. I said what the title of the video should be, and I've forgotten it 5 minutes later. But the other bloody title could be Casper the Friendly Ghost, so if you come to this point in the video and it's Casper, you probably have a good idea of what's happened. By the way, I have just seen we have +1 skeleton on a ring. Goodbye, other ring. I'm trading my summon quality away. So now we just want high summon quality on our other item. Everything is giving us max skeletons. So now we need max skeleton plus summon quality. Otherwise, nothing is worth swapping. We'll get a full arsenal of our skeleton boys. The gang is back together. We've got a mage, we have a skeleton lord, we have the Wolverine, we have Nighthawk, we have a pleb. Just everyone here right now. Need a good name for the mage. I'm sure something will come up. Again, this fight should be free for us. We shouldn't take damage because we're not ever going to attack. Just our skeletons. We don't need to attack. Don't get countered by him because that will hurt. So honestly, this run right now is going to be decided on my patience. I need to get some better loot. As in, I need a +1 with more quality. That's kind of what I'm like looking for now. It's the only thing that will make me change. Other than that, the only other lost condition is one of those stupid prime ghosts, or whatever they're called. I can't even remember their names because I'm so scared of them. Now, the other potential condition of losing is me getting impatient and just throwing thickets down until I spawn the boss. Which may also happen. Okay, this is max skeletons plus skeleton level. Do I rate the 18% evasion over 12% evasion and a bit better skeletons and some defense? Probably not. Yeah, I think I trade this now. So this is the one few case, I suppose. This ring was so weak that I will trade it if I get summon quality, but honestly, that was good enough for me. Right, you need to start being patient now. Just, like, okay, hand off your keyboard and just sit patiently like a good boy. Like, I'm almost like finger and lips. I don't know if other schools do this for, like, primary schools, but you would have, like, fingers on lips when you basically weren't wanted to be talking, and that would just magically stop you from speaking. This is not quite what I want right now, because the content would change quite dramatically if I stopped speaking. Just stop clicking things. Yes, I see there's a thicket, it's going to go away. You don't want to summon the boss like this. Honestly, another condition I suppose, if we do like what we've just done, we could loop long enough that we eventually pick up the gold card arsenal and try and gain multiple attack slots, but I think that would be a fool's errand. Sorry. So my throat is now drying out. I do have a little morsel of juice I've left for an occasion like this, but I'm going to hold off for now. Remember, you have to look at your loot too. Okay, that's not got summon quality on it, so you can't take it. I suppose now you can let just grey stuff go off the screen. But don't click on your cards, just leave them alone. You're not going to die, except to the prime person. He's the only one that can kill you. Well, the last boss will probably kill us as well, but he's your last worry. Okay, we're machine gunning people down. We're on loop 10. Now, where does my patience run out? Who knows? The length of the video kind of like determines when my patience will run out. But I think for the moment we have to at least give it another loop and see where we are. By the way, we're picking up tons of these bloody memory fragments, or what's called Book of Memories. So we have no concerns there. Again, you have to just be careful, because the +1 skeleton stuff will just drop off your screen very quickly. Stop tempting me with thickets, game. I don't want to be tempted. I'm going to put a piece of paper over the bottom of my screen soon to stop me looking at the stuff, because I don't need it. Now, the downside to this is the enemies are getting stronger, but right now, they're nothing compared to me. I'm stronger than they are. I don't need to flinch. Oh, there is something that's making me flinch though. And Oblivion is useful to me. Where's the bookeries? So I have 2 left. Let me remove the bookery in the dangerous place. And I'll leave that bookery which is not as dangerous. Also, good news everyone! Our council lands are starting to be formed. Which again removes our difficulty in playing this game. Because I'm going to summon less ghosts. They can just one-shot me. Well, I guess it's not a one-shot, it's a 6-shot. But you get what I mean. I have a little counterplay to it other than be strong. That's skeleton level, that's not plus skeleton. No one here is plus skeleton, right? Just checking. Yes, you are, but we know about you. Okay, let's go again. I wonder how many, like, in-game days have gone by the way, on this expedition. Oh, hello, +1 skeleton. It's more magic HP, but less defense. Huff. I don't know if that's worth it, because the defense goes onto my skeletons too. I think it's not worth it. So another twisted bit of fate, a piece of gear that I'm looking for. I wanted +1 skeleton and plus summon quality, but you've given it me on the one slot that I can't take it. I would literally have taken that everywhere else. But again, I'm a new person. I'm gaining patience. I'm learning to be patient. A trait that I thought I'd learnt many years ago, but no, I haven't apparently. Right, let me sit back up. I've become a bit aware that our audio might be scuffed now for the last, I don't know, 10 or 20 minutes, or the last loop, for example, that we just done. That's just how chilled I am for this run. I don't need to touch the buttons. It also helped me if you just gave me grey items or items that I need to replace, because then I don't have to look. Because if it's a grey item, I can't be better right now. Unless it said +2 skeletons, I guess. But I've never seen it. Another limiting factor actually on this run now that I think about it is eating. Because I haven't eaten lunch yet, and it is 4:45 PM, that is, not AM. So I'm quite a hungry boy. I will go hungry though, if it means that we can win this run. If we can get over this hurdle. I did think it might be the final hurdle, but as I said, I've done some research into the game, and it's not. There's another hurdle. So look forward to those adventures immediately afterwards. Well, at least we can do that in a different session. And we'll start from square one again and try and like theory craft. We could also go into previous acts, I think, to do it, which will help immensely. Oh, I can't take you. I look at my cards at the moment, like how tempting it is to like throw them down. Just like a morsel of thicket here or there. Surely that's not going to do anyone any harm. Still, our HP is rising, and that's good. More HP is more good. And so far, honestly, we've filled our potion slot up now. That's how comfortable we've been. There's now multiple enemies on the tile, and I did say that tempo was important, but tempo is not that important anymore when we have plus 199% attack speed. And it will definitely be 200 by the time we fight the boss. So we're just looking for good loot. There is also an option, by the way, and I did sort of allude to this before, that I could edit the video and just sit in silence for a while and just skip to the future. But no, everyone's going to suffer with me. They're going to suffer this patience and just inane rambling. Oh, look, let's ramble about music. Now, you might think, oh, you must know a lot about music. No, honestly, I've never been a huge fan of music. And this is kind of weird, and people have almost labelled me, like, psychotic, I suppose, for it. But I find, like, unless the music has something to relate to it, so, like, it's the theme song or something, like the Ghostbusters theme, and, like, I recognise the song, I'll remember it, but it's, like, it's associated with a motion picture. If it's not, like, I struggle to get into it. So when you say, like, oh, what are you listening to? It's like, is it, like, a new song? I struggle to tell you any artist in the last 10 years. And it's honest truth. And I definitely couldn't tell you any album that's come out in the last 10 years. Because I have very little interest in it, but I find it kind of interesting that I have no interest. Or at least other people have said it's kind of interesting. Kind of worrying is also a verdict that has come out. That maybe I should open up and embrace it, but I can't. I've tried. I have no necessary preference of music. If anything, I would say all the music is better. Times that remind me when I was younger as well. Less responsibilities, like just playing football all day, no care in the world. It's like, they're good memories. So music has to like evoke a memory with me, I guess, is where I'm at. And if it doesn't, then most of the time I just immediately forget it. Oh my god, I should have paused the game. Pause the game, you mad lad. I nearly lost the best ring I've seen for a long time. I need to evaluate this quickly. Do I care about the skeleton level or the evasion more? Honestly, I think I care about evasion more, so I'm going to trade this ring. Well, this is summon quality and max skeletons on a ring. And I went through the corner of Smithy land. Honestly, that could have been the unforeseen loss condition. I just raged so hard that I just sat throwing cards down to spawn the boss because I just missed the best piece of loot I'm likely to see in the next 20 or 30 minutes. More defense, more survivability. Okay, we have vampire mages over here now who can be a bit dangerous. And the tomes which can be dangerous, but it is good loot. It's good eat, ladies and gentlemen. You might ask as well now, like, so okay, you didn't listen to music, what do you do on the bus? It's like, well, I do listen to music, but I'll be listening to like theme songs and things. I've mentioned before, like, I do quite like some animes and some like TV shows, and so I have like playlists of theme songs from them. Invariably I'll forget where it's from, but because again my memory is not incredible. But it's what I'm into. Again, also more important to me is probably like a catchy beat over lyrics. I'm so happy you didn't spawn a thingy, by the way. I was briefly scared. Right, I don't think I got any more thingies. I think I've removed all my bookeries now. And they shall be never placed again. But other than that, when like I get home, I wouldn't really like chill out and listen to music. I'd normally play games. One thing I did try to do for a while was I was listening to this little band called The Beatles. You may have heard of them. And I was listening to like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And typically I would do it before I was sleeping, just as something to try and like put me to sleep easier. But it kind of worked too well, and then I just always get tired when I listen to the song. So I almost had to like anti-condition myself from it. But as long as you don't just listen to one song, I don't think that's ever going to be a concern for someone else. Honestly, I'm just thinking right now, what would I want to Oblivion? And I can't think of many things I want to Oblivion. I mean, that does no harm, so I guess that. And I guess now I can place a thicket. One thicket to quench my thirst of placing tiles. Dare I place another thicket? Ooh, maybe. Okay, so I placed 2 thickets. Let me just quickly check this loot that I got. You don't have +1 skeleton, so I can't take you. And we continue round. So we feel immensely strong, I'm not going to lie. But I did kind of on my last run. I was pretty convinced that, I mean, this was earlier on today, because I'm in the same recording session. I was convinced that our previous run was going to be a winner. I just couldn't see like how he lost it. And I still don't 100% know how he lost it. I think it was just erasing certain stats that hurt us so much that we couldn't deal with it. And then I think part of my problem is I undervalued the artillery skeletons. Whereas they're actually incredibly like useful. It's just guaranteed damage. Like now I've got I have 7 skeletons out. I guess my ability triggered that gave me +2 skeletons, I don't remember. I mean, we only got 4 here, so 2, so we should be able to sum 6, so I guess we did trigger that once to get higher. But honestly, I'm just monitoring loot right now. Okay, +1 skeleton. I will take you. You just... Sorry, it's +1 match skeletons, which is fine. I lose a lot of evasion on this, but at least I get better skeletons. And that could have been a problem for the last room, because we had pretty weeny little skelly bobs, which were dying pretty quickly. But as I am concerned though, because I believe that the loop will affect the boss. So I kind of think that looping like indefinitely while we're fairly like comfortable is typically a bad thing, but I don't know. I'm listening to just general advice for a change. I still think our strategy, we could have brute forced it eventually. It's just, as I said, it would have been brute forcing it. Or having the most tedious boss battle in the history of boss battles. If we could ever just get pure skeleton guards. This is definitely a more patient strategy, let's put it that way. Attack speed, regen. Yeah, in childhood I played a lot of games. We had a Sega Mega Drive. We also had a Commodore 64, but I don't really remember the Commodore 64. Bad memories, as I mentioned. And it got broken when I was quite young. So I barely remember a game called like Dizzy Down the Rapids, which apparently I used to love. But I don't remember it too well. But I fondly remember the Sega Mega Drive. Like, I had some great games on it. I mean, everyone talked about the N64. I didn't have an N64. A friend did, though. So I would just go over and play with his if I wanted to. But Sega Mega Drive, and you want to pitch this, it came, I think, with, like, 3 games. One of them was Columns, which is basically like Tetris, but I guess easier. And then it also came with a game called Super Hang-On, I think, or Hangman, which was a motorbike racing game which got progressively harder, like an arcade game. And you just basically had to like learn the layout. And you get faster and faster, and there'd be certain new obstacles, like the trees would change and there'd be like billboards. And like me and my dad used to play it all the time. But he would, and I don't know if he was like sandbagging a bit. I assume not, but honestly, I was a kid, so probably was. And he would like go X amount into the level, like he'd hit like, oh, I've hit stage 8, and I'd come back from school and be like, oh my god, like what's stage 8 like? Bearing in mind that probably all that they could change was the colour of the ground, the colour of the track, or the type of tree. But still, it like enthralled me. And I think eventually there was a finish to it. It wasn't endless. And I think within like odd time, we eventually beat it. When I actually gained some sort of form of hand-to-eye coordination, because when you're very young, you're basically a little dribbler. I think I got like close to the end. I don't even know if I ever finished it. I'm pretty certain just my dad finished it. Maybe we come back and look at it at some point. I still have my Sega Mega Drive, but I've not played it for years now. But it was such a fun experience, and I think a lot of people have this as kids, that your experience of playing games is often with a parent or like a sibling. I didn't really have much competition with a sibling. I have just a single sister, and she wasn't really into computer games, so no problems there. The computer game could end, a console could end up going into my room, and I was happy enough just playing that. Occasionally she would humour me and play like a game with me, but often she was not happy. But yeah, some fun memories of like playing like these games with your family. I think that's how a lot of people get into gaming. All the games I had on the Mega Drive, by the way, if you're interested, we had like one of the original Micro Machine games. I can't remember if it was numbered. I think it was like Micro Machines 64, but I don't remember. And that game was so much fun. The cartridge, because it was like before CDs, it was cartridge gaming, had 2 slots in so you could plug in another 2 controllers. Again, as a kid, that blew my mind that you could have 4 controllers just plugging directly into the cartridge. So I'm just checking this by the way, get interrupted. And then you could play this with friends. So like friends would come around after like primary school, and we were like playing 4-player Micro Machines. And man, that game was fun. Again, another thing Dad used to do was set records and maps, and I think again this must be sandbagging because he'd set a time. It's like, okay, it's like, here's your time handle owner. You have to beat it on this map, and I've set a record. And we'd sort of go backwards and forwards and just breaking each other's records, which is really fun. It's really neat, like nice interaction, and it prepared me as well for when like my friends would come around. It means I'm not completely terrible at the game. And I think everyone had that a bit of saltiness when you went to a friend's house to play games. Back when you could go around to people's houses, I suppose. But they would be like so much better than you at the game, and you'd just be like, oh, well, you're only good at it because you played it so much. Which makes sense, because the more and more you do something, the better and better you get at it, typically. But it was still fun nonetheless. Even just to like trying to age, be like, oh, should be the best of the rest, for example. I had many times playing FIFA as well. A game I've sort of fallen out of love with right now. I used to love the old like 2D ones where you could have like indoor football. I think that was like on FIFA 97 maybe. And yeah, very simple celebrations, but it was kind of like lovely. It was simple, it was nice, there wasn't too much you had to think about. It was just putting the ball in the back of the net. That's the only concern you had. Nowadays, oh my god, I nearly got this ring slide. High sound quality, welcome. Yeah, nowadays the FIFA games, I can't remember which the last one I played. Honestly, the last one I probably played seriously was like 2005 or something, I don't even remember. But I have played some on the like Xbox One when that was out. I think that was the last time I played a FIFA game on the Xbox One. There's so many controls now and like little things, and you'll go online and play with someone and like they're playing as like Real Madrid and have set strategies and like just pass it around the back or something when they've scored a goal, and you're just like, oh, I just can't be bothered with this. I'm just not willing to deal with this annoyance. So again, I fell in love with it, but when it was just tackle, shoot, and we actually had Italian 90 as well on the Sega Mega Drive, which literally just had, I think you had pass, shoot, and lob or something, like lob pass. You might even have lob pass, it might literally just be pass, shoot, and like tackle. And that game was so much fun. It was stupid, but it was fun. Like, classic names of football. You had like Lineker in the England team, for example. And honestly, that suits me fine. I didn't need to go to this extra level of complication. When I look at like FIFA games nowadays, it's like, oh well, push your striker up with like pushing up on the D-pad and then to the right or something. It's like, man, I just want to pass the ball around and like shoot. I miss the old free kick one as well, which was like the big arrow which like pulsated. And you could curl it. I mean, admittedly it was too easy. Eventually you would just learn like the skill, and free kicks became basically penalties. But it was fun playing those old like FIFA games with less complications. Nowadays, just doesn't interest me anymore playing FIFA. Honestly, this is better than my Grimoire right now. Because I don't need the regen. Other favourites, I think, kind of synonymous with like difficult games, was The Lion King. Not to boast, but I did beat it as a when I was still back in primary school. Very difficult game, not gonna lie. Just to interject again, do I rate 20% evasion? We have no evasion right now. More than I rate the skeleton level. I think no. We were doing so little damage last time that I won the level. But yeah, I beat this game like when I was still in primary school. It was such a hard game though, and like games were just brutal back there. I mean, people will say this as well. You'll see like playthroughs on like SNES or NES, the amount of games where it's like, well, you have 3 lives. If you die, you go back to the beginning. Like, the beginning of like an act or something. And then you'll have a continue. If you have no continues, no save points, you're back to the beginning of the game. Start playing again. That was the replayability in games. You would just like grind yourself against the wall. It's almost like playing Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. That you would sort of grind yourself against the game. It kind of frustrates you, but I think it builds up character in a sense if you could come back and beat it. Like, it didn't actually like push you over the edge. Admittedly, some games are bad, fine. They'll push you over the edge unless you won't play them again. But with The Lion King, I remember getting up to the act where it was like a maze. You go through the hyena tunnels and you had to like learn the sequence. But there was so little healing in the game that invariably you died multiple times. Oh my god, we just leveled. Do I want a handful of Oblivions? Let me think about this for a second. What would I Oblivion? What cards do not help me anymore? There is a Lich Palace. There's just one Lich Palace, isn't it? That's the only thing that would be a noticeable change for me. I don't think I take it. So I think I take Horde. I'll carry on. But again, Horde I don't really rate. By the way, it's 39,000 now, so let's get looping. But yeah, we got to this like hyena level, and it was so frustrating as a kid. Like I almost got it down. Even that stupid lava level where you have to just dodge the falling stalactites. I finally like broke through that, and then this stupid level took me so long to get through. I think like I was even writing on pieces of paper and like putting it in the box with the manual to like say, you have to go through on this map to go through that one. And then like eventually I'd scribble it out when I come to like a dead end or I'd come back to a previous room. Because one thing you'd like to do was drop the holes halfway up the map onto the map so you'd be back to where you were like 10 minutes before with like no HP. Well, I got through that, got finally to the final level, and then like he doesn't really explain to you in the game like there's a throw mechanic, and you kind of do it by accident a few times, especially when you're fighting like the little jaguar things. I don't know what they are exactly. But as a kid, like, you're just mashing buttons, and eventually just through pure mashing, I beat it. So pleased with the achievement that, like, multiple years later when I first met my partner when I was, like, 17, one of the things I did to show off to her, and this might show you how out of touch with reality was, I beat The Lion King in one sitting in front of her because she'd never seen anyone beat it. Like, in the past, you have people, like, going on, like, well, it's past even now. People going on motorbikes and things and showing off, and it's like, oh yeah, like, here are my full leathers. I'm like in a gang, you know, it's like, I smoke. And I'm like, yeah, here's how you beat Scar on the last level. It's kind of frustrating. Just different times. And I say different times, a very selective different time, I'm not going to lie. It's not that I didn't enjoy like going out as well, by the way, socialising. We did obviously go out and like drink and stuff. Been to many beer festivals in the past, but honestly, gaming has been a big part of my life, so it's one of the things that made me want to make a channel, like leave something back. It might be nice in the future as well, just to like come back and look at some of my old videos or playthroughs of games. And yeah, that's kind of what drove me to do this. Other games to Sega Mega Drive. Toy Story, great game on the Sega Mega Drive. Again, frustrating, but not as hard as The Lion King. I loved the sections in the RV car, or RC car, sorry. Don't know why I said RV. But definitely not as frustrating a completion as The Lion King was. Probably one of the most frustrating games I played, but again, definitely different timescales because I was a child at the time. I still think adults would get, like, stuck on sections. And I imagine people would go a bit insane over the monkey section on like level 2. But, damn, I love that game. As I said, this is most of the early childhood that I remember is gaming. Kind of sad, as I've mentioned before. It'd be kind of useful to remember things that you've learned at like college or at university. But no, that information has been stored like in the back row of my brain. Like dust is like piling up there. The labels are like corroded off. it takes me great amounts of knowledge, like, and effort to, like, pull up on that information. Invariably, I need to go back and look at some, like, notes. But as I said, stuff that you just didn't like in your childhood, like people that played in, like, your favourite sports team or something in your, like, formative years, you can just immediately, like, go back to it. It's like, so, just as a side, I support Man City, I have done for a while. Going through, like, the 99, like, playoff winning finalist team, it's like, you have, like, Edge Hill and stuff, you have the Whitley brothers, you had people like, I think Roswell was still in the team by then, you might have had King Clancy back then, like, these people, like, will just stick with me probably through life. Other things, though, like, as I said, I just completely forget them, which is the Lich Palace there. Like, I couldn't name, like, the full squad right now. I guess some of it is, I think a love for football sometimes, like, deteriorates in some people as they get older. And you just appreciate other things, so, like, I couldn't see when I was younger, especially with, like, football. And this is soccer for anyone from, like, NA. And I imagine the analogy probably works with American football. That I would, like, be, like, listening to it on the radio or stuff, because we didn't, like, have Sky when I was growing up. And you'd just be sat there every day, and I couldn't think of, like, planning something when, like, City were playing often. I'd just want to, like, listen to the City game. And I'd be, like, going, oh, it's like, Dad, we're losing again, because City mainly lost games back then. And I couldn't see it at foreign games. I'd get annoyed, like, when my parents wanted to go shopping or something and, like, drag me with them. But now, honestly, I can take it or leave it, even if it's on the TV. If I had the option of, like, seeing a friend, which no one really has the option of seeing a friend right now because of, COVID, then I think I would always choose the friend now. I think everyone would be like this. Well, I hope everyone's like this. I suppose people do get, like, super into football or all sports. Not saying it's not good. There's time for everyone with friends to, like, a football match or a rugby game. And you know what? Having, like, a beer and stuff, watching the game, pretty good. Pretty good time. Nice fun. Just, like, fun memories, I suppose. But as I said, nowadays, a lot of my friends, I'd say, I made from college and university aren't big football fans. Some, like, vicariously follow it through others, but since most other of my friends don't follow it, then I don't need to worry about it. Do I rate more defense? No, probably not. Still just waiting on items right now, and that's why we're looping. One of my friends is really into rugby league, and do I need to explain rugby league to people? Probably if you've not been in the UK. So there's two variants of rugby. There's rugby union, and this is probably the one that's most commonly on. So, like, the World Cup is bigger, like, by audience, and it has more of a global appeal. League is basically just a northwestern thing. Northwest, northeast, I'd say. So much so that I think every team barring one, and he's a league supporter, by the way, so he's not one of the main teams, but you can take this into the top division. Most of the teams are either in, like, Lancashire, Greater Manchester area, or Yorkshire. You've then got a few on, like, Humberside, like the Hull teams, and then you've got a few Cumbrian teams. But that's about your corridor. There have been expansions, so there is a London-based team, but typically the support isn't good enough. We've got a few Welsh teams as well. One of them has never won a game in their history, which tells you all you need to know about Welsh's appeal for rugby league. Other problem for rugby league, it's dominated by Australia. It probably helps for the sport as well that Aussie rules exist, because otherwise I think they would dominate it even more. Because fortunately a lot of the league players go to play Aussie rules instead, that could otherwise be truly dominating it. But I think league is generally a better spectacle at club level. Again, people probably disagree with this than at international level. Just because it's a bit more free-flowing, it rewards, in a sense, greatly rewards running with the ball, which I think in Union was lost a little bit. There's a lot more like kicking the ball for territory and waiting for teams to make mistakes. And it's not a great game when you're just watching like 15 grown men kick the ball to 20 metres, more than 20 metres, like 60 metres up the pitch, and then just sprinting back at them and hoping they drop it.
at least in League, like there'll be some plays and you're trying to get around people. You only have 6 tackles and then you have to like pass over play, or normally you would then kick on the 5th. But I would say at international level, Union's probably better to watch. There's probably a lower gap between the top teams than the bottom teams. Still, sizable gap though, that I'm not going to lie. You still have the same old usual teams that you'd expect to win, unlike Rugby World Cup. So, New Zealand are always going to be there or thereabouts. Australia will be there or thereabouts. South Africa probably. And then, like, the rest are fighting for bits. Normally, like, the Northern Hemisphere teams seem a bit weaker. So, you're split up as England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. And I would say that the outside shots are normally for England and Ireland. Or Wales, I suppose. Wales have actually honestly done well for themselves. For, like, considering the talent pool, Welsh rugby is kind of insane. It's very impressive. They are on course at the moment to potentially win the Six Nations, but because of a postponed game, because, you guessed it, COVID, it's not guaranteed yet. But if they do win it, then honestly, mad respect to them. They had a bit of luck, I'd say, but they deserve to win over the course of the championship. And with so few players to pick from, it's incredible how consistently they have been a good team. I would probably say equally, I think Scotland underperformed slightly, but again, they don't have a huge pool to pick from. But they haven't done bad this time. England, on the other hand, have done really, really badly. So it seems to be their story of the Six Nations under their manager Eddie Jones. They either do pretty well, as in they win it or come second, the Six Nations, or they come nearly bottom. And there's a lot of controversy in the Six Nations because Italy basically always come bottom. It's not always been the case. There has been times, but especially in this I'd say the last 2 or 3 championships, they've come nowhere near close to beating teams, which is a shame. And perhaps we are at a point now where they should consider looking at other teams from the Europe to look at replacing them. I think part of the problem with that is that obviously, not right now again, pandemic and all that, but selling a ticket to go to Rome is pretty easily, because there's other things to do in Rome other than to watch the rugby. Whereas the other top European team, who I'd say is probably Georgia and Russia, probably a little bit less reason to go there, other than rugby. That being said, probably hidden gems in Georgia, and definitely there's a lot of history in Russia. Probably would be a bit careful about being in Russia and things you say though. But I'm certain that you could have a nice time over there. But I think there is just worry that, as I said, some of these other nations, Romania, I think are pretty up there for the tier 2 nations. Haven't got that appeal that Rome and Italy would do. But honestly, that's not what sporting merit should be on. And I think it is a point for the Union that soccer doesn't have this problem. They have a wide appeal to everyone. I guess because it's quite easy to pick up soccer. You just need a ball and some jumpers for goals. But you need some degree of training in it. Otherwise, it's pretty dangerous. Not as dangerous as American football, I would like to add, but dangerous nonetheless. You could have a severe injury. And then the problem for these teams is how do they play against a team wanting to get better? Obviously they're going to get thrashed sometimes, but you have to learn those very important lessons. It's such a small percent at the highest level of all sport, and even add this into athletics as well. The difference between being the best 8 people in the world or something, and being the 9th to the 16th best player is probably bigger than being 16th to 120th. Again, you might disagree, but that's how I see it. This is just an upgrade. Again, just to come back to the game, I suppose, I'm just looking for max skeleton plus quality. That's all I'm interested in right now. I'm honestly not even looking at my HP. We just seem comfortable. We've looped 14 times. There is going to become a point, as I said, that I'm getting a bit hungry, so I kind of might have to stop fairly soon before I pass out. I've only had a bit of toast today for breakfast. But right now, I'm comfortable enough to keep going. And I really would like to knock this out now. Because this is probably my last recording for this session, and I don't want to come back another day and have to
have this on my list. But yeah, sorry, as I said, the gap between so I'm happy with the run. The gap between the top level is so big that you have to get beaten by them, especially in situations where there is a technical level. In athletics, there's not too much of a technical level to worry about if you're doing like 100-meter sprint. Obviously, there's small things that you can do, like you're like getting out of the blocks and stuff. Obviously, matters a huge amount at that level because if you lose 0.2 of a second, it could be the difference between you winning a race and being safe. But unlike rugby, where you have like an actual tactic to play the game, and different modes you can almost play the game, like you can play quite defensive or you can play an open style. That these teams just have to play. Otherwise, how are they going to get better? Just to again break through the potential tedium of this video, I am going to oblivion some of these villages, not because I'm worried about them, but because I like to place more thickets down. So it gives us a small improvement on the run, but still looking for the same items. Yeah, I do enjoy the Rugby Union World Cup. As I said, it's a shame that it's so obvious from the outset, like who's going to be in it, and typically the groups are like done in such a way because it's seeded that you know which team's going to come through. It's typically just one team gets like a slightly bad draw, and this is normally because of the Northern Hemisphere teams. Like you have like France as well, who are normally pretty good. Had a drop in form recently, but they look like they're coming on pretty strong right now. And then you'll have some of the Pacific Island teams like Fiji and Samoa, who will always like have decent teams, but unfortunately have some players raided by other nations. And when I say raided, I don't mean literally like the English rugby team is going to get over there in a ship and like capturing them or something and enslaving them. I literally just mean in terms of finance. Like obviously Pacific Island rugby can't pay out as much as it could do playing for England or playing for Australia. So you get a lot of these players playing for like almost like heritage nations, that they have a father or something that is from Australia, or they've been in Australia for X amount of their lives. I think that's a bit of a difficult thing in sport, actually, how you choose to represent your nation. Like, where do you go back to? You see, at least in soccer, that some countries will go back to their grandparents, which obviously must be ratified by FIFA, the global organisation. But is it really fair if you've like never been in the country before? For example, like if you have grandparents that are like Nigerian, that you go on to represent Nigeria because you have a better chance of representing Nigeria than England, for example. I don't know. I think it's difficult. Some of the situations do look pretty like clear cut when you have some of the like. I can't remember the exact name of the person, but there was like a runner who I think was from like I can't remember. It's like Korea, from like Kenya, and he was representing Bahrain by effectively like them giving him a passport, even though I don't think he'd really lived in the country. Now you do want like the best athletes there, and you could argue that really you should pick the best athletes even if they're all from one nation, but obviously it's not quite as good a viewing spectacle. But I think those situations of like effectively buying people to represent your nation has to be like looked at a bit better and like stand down on. These changes might have already been made, honestly. This was some time ago where I was like heavily following sports. I said right now, I've like calmed down more, see friends more often. Well, pandemic aside, yes. Or just like speak to people. It's always good speaking to people. Like, I mean, you can take it right now as that you'll be pausing the video after like each question I've asked and like answering it and like debating it with me. I imagine no one is doing that, but you never know. No one may ever hear this except for me. I've not. That doesn't escape my attention. But as I said, even like as an output of like YouTube or Twitch or like any of the other like streaming services, it's nice to like be involved in things, I suppose. And it's better than having nothing. If you're just literally locked up all day, it kind of twists your view of like world points. Whereas you get like kind of mellowed out on average the more people you're with and the more people you talk to, and like cultures you experience and so on. There are dangers, I think, if you just stay in your room all day, just like reading Reddit, that you're going to become quite a twisted individual based on some of the Reddit posts I've been seeing recently. But again, like stuff like Reddit and social media, I kind of like stay away. Reddit is kind of a guilty pleasure, I suppose. I do go on that fairly often. More of like a news thing, because as I said, most news you get reported on the national newspaper is negative, and sometimes you just don't want to look at another negative story. But Reddit often shows like positive things and interesting things occasionally. But you do run the risk sometimes of going into situations that this isn't better than these Marines. You go into like darker territories pretty quickly if you're not careful. Let's just put it that way. But social media, as I said, I've completely gone off that. I never really had a Twitter account. And by really, I mean I just never had a Twitter account. I could use my partner sometimes, but honestly, it didn't appeal to me eventually just seeing what everyone was like spouting out that they were up to. Typically didn't interest me. Facebook I mainly now use just for organising things, like quick chats with my friends, like go for a bit, again pre-COVID. But some of the posts just depress you, like from people that you knew in the past where like the same stuff that's like clearly like very right-wing or even just downright racist. And you're just like, come on, it's like I don't want to see this. I know you can just delete them, but honestly, it felt like the more like I deleted them, and I did eventually go through a purge of my like Facebook list and remove some people that I wasn't happy with. Their ideals were very much different from mine. But I just got fed up with like purging people, honestly. So it just became not worth it. And I think I'm generally a bit happier for it. Not gonna lie. Honestly, Oblivion. Which one do I want to Oblivion? Do I want to Oblivion the chest? Not really. Right. And I have no thickets right now to place. Well, I could place a thicket now. Still waiting on those perfect items. Like, our skill level, like, item is pretty low. We're picking up 20 stuff now, which is high, but obviously if it doesn't have the stat you're interested in, it's pointless. So where do I feel like with this run? I guess let's come back to the game for a little bit. I'm looking for +1 skeleton and quality. Which item am I really looking for it on? Honestly, my grimoire. If I get a good grimoire, I might consider swapping. But honestly, this could also be a change. So this is way more magic HP, and evasion is a better stat for me. So this is going to be finally a trade. Just as like I feel like my patience slips away, the game pulls me back in and offers me an item with +1 skeleton with some quality and evasion. Again, I've not seen some quality higher than 29, but I'm assuming it's out there. I'm also hitting a point now, by the way, that I'm happy to fight the boss, I think, just because of... I'm not really improving fast enough, I think. I'm not super paying attention to it, but there's going to come a point where the enemies are suddenly going to start hurting me. There's 30% quality, so it is out there. So enemies are going to start hurting me a lot. And I need to be careful that I don't like bite off too much and then I can shift. So like this tile could potentially be difficult. Admittedly, we deal with wooden warriors pretty well. But they're hitting for 145 right now, so if I ever declare an attack against it, I'm going to get hurt. Like so, I just declared an attack. So I have to be super careful about stuff like this. I do admit I have 2000 HP, which takes an edge of fear of things. But I'm in for the long haul right now. Please pause the game, stop just running through, like trying to work these out. If this was on a ring, I might take it, but it's not, so I'm just going to forget about it. I can't. Quality is more important to me than attack speed. Evasion actually is something that I'm considering, but attack speed is irrelevant. 211% attack speed right now. Like, it doesn't matter. The difference is kind of negligible. Whereas if we just get pure Bone Lords, that isn't negligible. I suppose the other thing I'm looking for is skeleton level. But I don't know, as I said, what the cutoff point is. If we lose this run, I think I might do an edited version and just try and get to the same position and then start narrating the video. I like the super chills. As I said, I tried to do super chills, and I'm not going to put this out as a super chill. It is actually an intentional, like, an episode that I was trying to progress on. And for all I know, in like, I don't know, whenever I stop this madness in like 30 or 40 minutes time, possibly, then we'll hopefully have won it, and we won't have to do something like this again. Or hopefully I won't have to do something like this again, is my plan. I'm still not forgotten about the threat of these guys, by the way. The prime guy can hurt me. One thing I wouldn't mind, actually, as I mentioned before, is if we do fight one of those prime guys, if it can drop the golden card arsenal, that would be super nice. I would take it. Okay, we're not going to see it. But we get a lot of good loot there. Right, so this is not good. No. I kind of wish now that I could put a filter on this. Again, it might be a mod or something that people look at making. Just to say that I'm only interested in +1 skeleton things. And everything else just, like, hide it from me or something. Because obviously you can't just delete it, because that is a game mechanic, having stuff in your slots. But right now, what am I thinking? I'm feeling strong enough that we go loop again. I don't see any huge threats. We've picked up hundreds of resources, by the way. So this has basically replaced the super chill that we could have done. And I can see now why stuff costs so much. It was a type of run like this, a patient one. As opposed to our rogue and warrior run where we just ran as fast as we could through the expedition. We have taken our time, we picked up all these resources, and a little bit of banter, that's nice. I could unlock most of the encyclopedia, I think, with that, in fact. And I don't think there's a cap at the moment. That being said, is it capped at 100 or the expansion? Who knows? That I can't take. Again, I should pause the game when you're looking for stuff, because I have a lot of smithies down. Ooh, level 19 loot. Again, maybe a little bit of faster attack speed, movement speed would be nice as well. Maybe a ×3 would be nice. Maybe to unlock it. Just to let this go past a little bit faster. Because there's no doubt in my mind right now that the best thing to do is keep looping while I feel safe. And I feel pretty safe right now. But I am appreciating that the content that I'm producing will deteriorate. Especially as I run out of like inane stuff to chat about. Fortunately, the world is very big, unlike the Loop Hero world, and there's a lot of rubbish that you can talk about. Right, please, 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 and no. Okay, so what I was saying before, I think I'm going to call it 18. This is the most loops we've done, by the way, so again, clap for me, I guess clap for the people in Google who suggested some of these potential ideas. Because I don't think I could have done this on my other build. Oh my word, summon quality 30%. Do I change for 1%? Don't talk to me. That's kind of like almost a rage change, by the way. I would have taken that quite happily on any other slot, I think. But it was probably the one I didn't want to swap it with. Because I like the evasion. But I don't think evasion is as important. So yeah, I think I'm going to go to like loop 18, and I think I'm just going to call it. And then we'll just try and beat the boss with what we have. But there is no doubt in my mind that like just looping is the right play right now. We are taking a little bit of damage. So I think I complete this loop, go on to 18, and then we just spawn it. And we'll see how we do. I mean, obviously I hope we beat it, but if we don't, then I know. I'll even, like, I'll take a screenshot or something of how we are at the moment, and we'll know what stats we need to fight the boss. But I have +1 skeleton in every single slot. We've picked up the skill for it. Honestly, I could wait to level up, but that is going to be maybe an hour from now that we level again. And we're kind of running out of useful skills. There is one that gives the skeletons more like magic HP, which would be really nice, but I can't take it. Also, skeletons are getting better the more we progress. 15.19 level in the skeletons is pretty high. It might be the highest we've ever had. So our skeletons right now have like 160 HP. But I don't know what the boss damage is going to be. We've looped so long that I still think the boss is going to one-shot our skeletons for the most part. We have 2,600 HP, which is more than we did with the warrior when we run. It might just be a long, drawn-out fight. We only have one resurrect, but my god, remember you have to click the resurrect button if you're close to the end. Man, I can't, like, live with myself if I did that again. The only positive side, because I went back to the video and went like, wait a minute, I had one more resurrect, didn't I? That was the whole point of the crit, is like, you gain another resurrect. To like, balance out that you're quite low HP early on. I'm 100% certain we lost that run, regardless of what we did. Can't take it. Oblivion, though. Goodbye. And a thicket, I will place another thicket down. We'll keep getting stronger. So yeah, it doesn't eat up at me as much. I think, honestly, if we were like one hit away from the boss, that would have eaten me up. It might have ended my recording session, honestly, but thankfully it hasn't. I'm here. We're still chatting. We're still looping, but we have an end now because I've announced the end. Did we hit go then? I didn't see. By go, I mean the camp, of course. If we did, I'm going to not pause the game, actually, because I have no cards I want to play right now. Because that would be funny, wouldn't it, game? Yeah, I haven't hit the camp. We are taking... We're going to start taking damage soon. I think this is the right time to pivot. Ooh. Okay, we've got an improvement at least, but it's not really what I'm looking for. But skeleton level's not terrible. It could be worse. We're definitely stronger than the last run, but I think the boss might be stronger too. We have another Oblivion. Ooh. Spicy. Spicy, spicy, spicy. You know what? I don't want just a basic village anymore. You don't offer me enough anymore to be excited. You offered me more than that though. Again, quite funny. Actually kind of dangerous as well, because he could have spawned the boss then. Right, we've gone past the camp. Let's just do it. I'll start placing tiles down to spawn him. Feel free to help me in the last fight, by the way, you guys. Yeah, there's some fights right now where it's going to start eating into our potion supply. And I don't want that. And honestly, there's so few tiles that we can actually improve on now. We might even hit our max tile improvement before the end of this run. The cap isn't 100, by the way. It was just coincidence that I saw that hit 100 in stock. I don't want to spawn a bandit camp. And I don't want to use sand dunes. I was just thinking, should I play sand dunes, but no. Honestly, there's nothing that can improve me anymore. I have not placed anything down that wasn't like a thicket. So I have no forest even to Oblivion. Okay, we had a little bit more leeway than I thought for the boss. It's almost tempting. And I say almost tempting in like a way that I'm not ever going to do this. But if we were close to leveling and we got a handful of Oblivions, I could Oblivion everything on the map. Like, Oblivion as many hard enemies as possible. Just so that we keep our strength from skeletons going into the first fight. But I think that would be insane. By the way, please don't just tear me from this earth now. Oh my god. Please don't summon the alpha thing. Thank god. There goes a loot fountain, if I've ever seen one. Okay, this is +1 skeletons, but you take my summon quality away from me, and I can't accept that. 3 more tiles we can use. I've still not spawned the boss, which scares me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I thought we'd be spawning by now. But I think we stick with the plan. There's always like one more loop we could do, but... Right, we have 2 more thicket tiles, and then we can't really improve anymore. The only thing I could say is that Smith's Forges could be semi-useful just to help us in some of these battles. No, and no. But I think we had like a few Smith's Forge anyway before the boss, so I don't think we have to worry about that too much. Our attack speed is 223, about as high as we've ever seen. Probably the highest we've ever had in the Necromancer, but I don't remember for certain. Nope. We want a full complement of Skelly Boys. The skeleton level is 17, which is okay, but not incredible. Please give me some more thickets. Now, I'm going to say that if we're around here and I've not spawned the boss, I'm not going to. I will go on to the 19th loop for it. Just because I want to make sure that we have like 100% defense. And I've been holding on placing smithies because I want to make sure that we get high enough attack. But actually, we could play cookeries as well now. I just really want to like do this sooner rather than later. I thought we were like one tile away, but apparently we were more. Oh, alright, that's a thicket. Will you spawn the boss? Yeah, okay. I'm living with it. Right, Smith's Forge has a use, so place you down. And I won't do anything else other than... Might as well place a village, why not? Oh, there is a reason actually, it could have been a bandit camp. Don't place any more villages, there's no reason to. Just insanity. Right, we're hyped up again, we're back into the video. I hope no one's like skipped ahead into the future and listened to my ramblings. My stomach is rumbling in anticipation of this result. Because at least it's going to be a result. I'm not going to ruin a village because that's stupid. I was going to say, if you come out and ruin me, then I'm going to be pretty upset. Right, we can't place any more thickets on the board now. We are thicketed out. You know what? If I Oblivion that river, will it destroy the river? I'm not going to test this now because that sounds like insanity. But if the river still stays continuous, this is something we're going to have to test. I know it sounds stupid that we're like potentially about to complete the game and I'm talking about more tests. But I'm really interested to see what would happen. I never even thought about it as a potentially different tile. I mean, it can't because we've unlocked the tiles. But I'm just saying that if I Oblivion a corner here, I can place another thicket down. It could literally be the difference between like winning and losing a run. So the only thing that can improve us now is smithies, I guess. Give us more defense. Try and get in at 30 defense. But we're not like... I'm not too worried about that. I don't think that's what's going to win or lose the run. Is a bit more defense. It'd just be nice to have. No, I want the additional skeleton, please. Pause the game quickly. You don't have +1 skeleton on you, you terrible people. Okay, I think this is basically the strongest we're going to be. We will pick up some more armor. But we have no more fights. But full defense. Right, let's be having ye. Yep, sure. Right, what's he doing? Now, he's doing 413 damage a hit, so he's going to one-shot these skeletons, by the way. But we've got a full complement out very quickly. Our guys at the back will keep peppering him with damage. We'll hopefully keep having Bone Lords. That's a big AoE attack that I don't like and I don't appreciate. Why have we got 3 plebs? Oh, I guess he's taking away our quality right now. Please give me back my quality. I don't want plebs. Honestly, prove me wrong, pleb skeleton. So many things in this game have proved me wrong eventually. Even things that I thought proved me wrong, but then proved me right again. Proved me wrong twice, I guess. Be the change I want to see in this world. Honestly, I think we've done it. We've done half his damage. Interestingly, some of our guys at the backline died. I don't know how that's happened. I guess he can hit the artillery slots? I don't know. I have a resurrect if I need it. But I don't think I'm going to need it. Honestly, that was the scariest thing. That prime material, whatever he's called, nearly ruined this run. But honestly, we're at 2,700 HP. The internet is right. The bookeries may have been foolish, but they let me progress the game a bit faster early on. We've just drank our first potion and we've done like 15% HP. Oh, Skeleton Lords are coming out now. Wolverine is here to say hello. He wants one last look in. Nighthawk wants one last look in. We've never named the Skeleton Mage. Let's try and think of something quick. Skeleton-based mages. Currently all I can think of is Bony Potter, which is really terrible and has other intuitions altogether. But let's go for it. Can we see a Bony Potter one more time before we stop playing as the Necromancer? That being said, we might do some of the other challenges as Necromancer, but one of them at least I'm definitely going to do as the Rogue. We've not seen the Rogue for maybe 10 hours. Probably longer than 10 hours. How long has this video gone on for? Has this been 10 hours? I don't know. All I know is that it was perfectly daylight and sunny when I started the video, I think. And now it's dull and dark. Sure, 9 potions, 8 potions. We'll keep drinking them. Is Nighthawk going to get the final kill? 193 HP. Who gets the final hit? Is it going to be me? I don't know. He has 32 HP now. A lot of defense. We've killed him. I didn't see. I think a pleb actually got the kill. Amazingly. It finally happened. I accept your victory in my death. Is there anything you'd like to know? Your servant Omicron. Why does he serve you? Omicron. A powerful dead sorcerer. A lich. He was able to see the signs of my actions before anyone else. He feared the heat death of the world. He was trying to prevent it, but everything was in vain. He kept trying while he was alive, while he was dying, and even when he was already dead. He thought that when I destroyed everything, and there wasn't anything left to destroy, I would kill myself, and I would die, be reborn as a creator god, and create the world anew. An eternal cycle of the life and death of the universe was his solution to the problem. I didn't want to destroy his illusions. I have no need to kill myself. Your help was appreciated, though. The ability to shatter space, to break reality into layers. He was trying to save the world by helping you? Destroy it? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Don't be hard on him. He was trying to find a solution till the very end. The chain of events could guide you to any other outcome without the Lich, and we both have no idea what that outcome would be. So here's some level 25 loot. Omicron's technique, 1 resurrect charge. No, not interested. Honestly, I don't know why I'm reading this. I'm not looting anymore. I've done. I kind of want to see the loot, but give me all this. Give me 109 of these. Give me all the metal. I only picked up 16 stone. Sure. We're going to skip the credits. We've seen it all before. Any new text here? No. We had defeated the game. I was kind of expecting something else. But fair enough. Honestly, what's it take to upgrade watchtowers? Let's upgrade some watchtowers. This tower will allow us to see monsters from greater distance. Don't worry. Those beasts won't scare my men. Yeah, very nice. Can that be upgraded again? Yeah, it can. Yeah, sure. Throw all that at him. Very well. Very well. Quite sturdy. The tower looks even better than before. I'll make a new training plan for the Watchman, so he won't spoil the view. Okay, we can still go from Watchtower, sure. Sometimes I keep watch on the outpost myself. It strengthens the spirit and keeps me from forgetting how to handle a crossbow. During your expeditions, you can see the veil is coming apart and how the world is slowly returning. I hope that one day I'll be able to join your assault. Yeah, feel free to join our assault, by the way. Like, how many times can I upgrade this damn tower? Hang the new targets. Draw that bowstring faster. You have a shoulder? Put some back into it. We're in the middle of training, as you can see. Your investment won't go to waste. I can still upgrade this blooming watchtower. Is it going to be a castle? I literally can't afford it anymore. I just picked up hundreds of resources and I can't afford it. Honestly, this video's long enough, isn't it? Shall we just trade some lumber or something? Or some rations? And just see what happens? I would say this, but I feel obliged to open my entire encyclopedia now. How many do you even need? I mean, we have 200 lumber right now, so honestly, just give me a bunch of these. I think that's enough. Yep. What a great structure! The view is unprecedented. The climb is as easy as ever, and the arrow slits seem to guide the shots perfectly. I sound like I'm trying to sell it to myself. It's been so long since I found myself on an actual military installation. Thank you. It's done. The watchtower is fully upgraded. Honestly, this is something we should have probably considered doing earlier. I didn't realise I eventually gave you slots as well. Okay, we've spent everything. Let me see supplies, because honestly, I tickled this before. We have other things now we could do. Do I just throw these all back in? I kind of like them. For now, I think I'm just going to do that. Cheese? No cheese. But I might take them out again, depending. As I said, I had a vague look into it. There are some secret bosses that you can fight. So we're going to go fight the secret bosses, and I've learned how to spawn them, but I didn't look at what the bosses were. One of them involves this card, and the clue was in the sounds. Find out the next episodes, hopefully, what is going to happen. Goodbye!